All right, so here today we're having some fun. All together, we're going to talk about some things over here regarding, yes, Elegg! Alerting you before you pull, is she worth it if she's, again, something you want to go for and everything associated. For the most part, on paper, she should be a good character. There's no doubt about that. She'll probably be, like, the best bet to off-burst for solo raid teams, for water and everything, because she doesn't need to even be on burst. She allows everybody else to do their own thing. She exists on the outer rim, and she just... boom, does damage. that's kind of it. Then we're going to try her out, see how she does. As always, new to the channel, like and subscribe. It helps out. Let's hop into it. Let's sort of check out what Elegg can do, talk about if she's worth it, and some other things that I want you to know if you're trying to use her, because there's a proper way to use the egg. Let's have fun with it. Like and subscribe. Here we go. So because of this ability over here, this is sort of how you have to play the egg. Just know this. Affects random enemy units. Again, if the number of ghosts is not 13, it does 800% attack 6 times. So where her attack becomes super crazy is when your ghost reaches 13. When it reaches 13, that's when you want to make sure you're bursting with her, because instead of doing it 6 times, you are now doing it 13 times, with the number of ghosts dropping by 9, but it's 13 comparatively speaking to the 6. Why this is good is you're allowing your water, okay, Nikke's, to do their thing, whether it be Brady, whether it be running, let's say, Doro, whether it be running Lud, whether it be running Helm, whoever is your water Nikke doing the damage, they can exist, continue to do their damage, and to scale off with Brady being an off-burst Nikke, she can remain there in the 3rd slot and just sit there and wait until her 13 stacks coming out, and then I think she can get maybe 2 or 3 of those in-game, depending. I have to see, I have to make sure. But for the most part, that's sort of how you play this Nikke. You just wait, you see the burst go through, that's the entire process, that's the entire... hey, this worked out, hey, this did this. That's what you have to look for. Everything else she does offer, she offers 35% right water code. So we are testing this in water code, because outside of water code, she loses 35%. And that's going to hurt her entire team, okay? The thing you can actually know is, remember, you're not also just looking at her damage, you're looking at how she helps the team. 35% as strong element is actually a very, very good stat, and it is very, very solid for running with multiple different aspects. So please keep that in mind. Running her with water team is the most beneficial thing to do, because again, that 35% is big. When you are evaluating, hey, does this Nikke do good, you have to take away 35% of each Nikke that is water when using that analysis, because again, on paper, when testing and seeing exactly how that looks, yes, when they swap out, okay, the egg, and they replace it with somebody else, they're doing far less damage, because again, they're not on burst, and on top of that, they're not providing any sort of support capabilities while the egg is. Understood? That's how that works. So far on the JP side, a lot of players have already kind of cooked up a very, very good idea of what she looks like. So to give you an idea of, hey, how is the egg performing from a really, really solid test with a pretty solid build. Elegg skill 777, advantage code is about the same as Helm's, around 65%. Burst can be fired twice at 13 stacks, so twice. Feels like an evolved Winter Maiden, doesn't it? Seems to be designed as a stationary unit, so it's quite tough. Helm feels like she's used in the main party when there's no attribute. In that case, it can't maintain independence like a lightning party. Over here's what it looks like. Their damage came up to be with Siren 2.5, 6.1 over here with Lud, over here 3.5. But remember, a Nikke who only burst 2 times is picking up 3.3. So comparatively speaking to the off burst, for so far, this build, again, not exactly maxed out yet, as the person has suggested, that's what you're getting. You're getting about 3.3 as an off burst, which is good. Don't look at the damage, be like, that's horrific, because remember, 35% of that attack, or 35% of that Nikke is here. This is increasing by 35%. That is what she has to also offer, so you have to always play it to the point where it's saying, hey, this is a support X damage dealing Nikke. That's the point, okay? That's where you're currently standing, so know that going into this. Don't look at the numbers and be like, oh, that's horrific. That's where she's going to be, okay? That's where she's going to be. So let's move on. Let's show it off one time. So loading in over here, this is what it looks like over here for the egg. We're running something you may not agree with, but I am running over here Guillotine for this one. Kind of showcase what Guillotine also does, because Guillotine is still very, very solid for Nikke. And in this case, you can run Helm, but strictly for this one, I kind of already showed you what Helm looked like in that image, so you have an idea that that's what Helm has to offer. So in my case, testing it over here, this is what she has to offer here. Again, she is not bursting. The entire point of this is bursting at 13. That's when she does the most damage. And again, she allows everyone else to cook up their damage, and she can catch up on her own by, again, going to that point. If you are somebody who just doesn't have, let's say, any other B3 Nikke, and you want to just run her on burst and see how that works, that's an option. I'm not going to say it's a wrong option, but the preferred option is to run her 13. because again, she will do pretty solid at that number. And again, for the most of Solar Raid, that's where she's going to be at. But if you're somebody who just doesn't have many water Nikkes, maybe just run her at that, you know? Run her with those six basically burst every time, or sequential attacks every time. But over here, I think we're still going to be short. Obviously, we're going to get to another burst rotation, but she's not going to be able to burst just yet. So we'll have to wait around 1 minute 30 is when she starts her first burst. And then from that point onwards, because it drops, I think, 9, you can keep going and get that uptime pretty quickly. But here, you have to make sure now you burst with her, because again, you'll see. So this is where she's at right now, 140. And then when you see when the burst comes through, you'll see how much more it does. But there's the burst. We'll wait until the burst timer ends, and then we'll show exactly what you went up here, because she'll go up a lot. That's the entire point to what this sequential attacks are. That's kind of how they work. So over here, she jumped up all the way to 323, passing Guillotine. That's, again, the process. So what will I say for her? It's limited. Just if you like the Nikke, pull it. If you don't like the Nikke, you don't need to pull it. I still think that in a water niche, with how much Shift Up apparently hates water, it might be beneficial to pull for it. I'm not going to say it's not. Again, Shift Up hates water for some reason, right? It's like a big thing that they have. It's been a while since we've had, it's been forever since we had broken water DPS. And for some reason, Siren, in my opinion, still should have been water. She ended up being wind. So that was like the biggest shock to us all. And with that, we don't really have an insane busted water, if you were to say Pilgrim. So in this case, you at least now have Doro and you have Elegg here. Those two filling up those slots that are, if you were to say missed. But now we can proc another one. We're at 13 stacks over here. So we can get this one going. So that's 2 exactly pulled. And then there we go. Egg gets her insane sequential burst off. And this one will look like pretty much, if you want to see it. This will be like our sort of idea of what it operates as. So give it a second here. I'll let it finish, actually. I'll let it finish and then we'll check it. But I also do a off scope block test and show you what that looks like as well. I think I did that originally. I have a screenshot of it, so I can show you what the screenshot looks like. Because I did do an off one test. My Elegg, I ran out of rocks, but Elegg didn't do that bad. She just didn't do that good. That's the only issue. In the context that, again, my build is not that hot. Over here's what it looks like pretty much. 670 from Guillotine, 754 from Winter Ludmilla. And you can see she was holding on. 627 for an off burst, right? And it's pretty freaking solid. I'm not going to say it's anything bad or anything. It's great. So that's where she currently stands over here in this test. Obviously speaking, when scope blocks off here, you will see Ludmilla will shred, and she'll be a bit higher, much higher, right? But Elegg will still hold on pretty well. So that's like the sort of idea you can hold. Let's show off one more on scope block, and then I'll show you what it looks like without scope block, so you know. Okay, on second thought, I decided just to run it without. So there is no helm here still, but we're running Doro just implanted in instead of Guillotine. We're going to see it this way, how this sort of operates. This should be good. This should actually be good. This is off a scope block, mind you. Just be aware, this is off a scope block. What I will say is, my Doro build is good. My Doro build is okay. Let's not lie here. My Elegg build is mid. That's what you should know. She has 1 ammo. She has 2 ammo capacity lines. She has attack and crit rate and hit rate. I again ran out of stones. So sadly, I couldn't get more. She has a decent amount of ammo. Nothing insane though, as of now. And I still haven't built her like fully reading into like what we should go for on the stat aspect. But for now, that's what you have to know where she's at. Okay, just know that now going into this. That is where she's at. So again, testing this. How does she do? We'll find out now. I think we have to wait all the way to 1 minute 30. Yeah. Regardless of what you do, it's only 2 bursts you can get per match at 13 stacks. Right, the 13 sequentials. Or you can do it at 6 if you want to try that. But yeah. So here we go. We can now get her burst off. Let's see. And boom. Uses up all that. I'm going to check where her damage is yet right now. Once this burst rotation ends, let's see where her damage is at. So she's at 199. Yeah, Doro's going to sweep. 424 versus 254. Yeah. Egg has a mid build. Doro has a good build. Ludmilla is in the middle as well. I have a solid build Ludmilla, but Doro, for some reason, whenever I run Doro with Ludmilla just like craps out. That's like a thing. I don't know why. So yeah, we'll now wait until our next point where we can do that. But I won't lie. I don't know where, like, if you're saying in the context of, hey, where would Prywin rate it? I don't know there. You can say S to SS. The whole point of this is, if you're just basing it off of water, that's where it is. But she's not a good Nikke outside of that, right? She's going to be a niche Nikke to water. So if you're asking me, do I need her? If you play solo raid, you need her. Because, again, for water raids, whenever they come by, she should always be a good Nikke in water raids. But I'm not going to say, like, bro, if you don't hold this Nikke, like, in the context of Crown, in the context of, still, I would say Doro too, whatever this new Doro is, she's still really freaking good. And she is still a very high tier damage dealer. You can see who's kind of taking the showcase over, 660. Still, you keep it up, I can't say that, you know. Now she'll drop hardcore, because remember, you're not going to get a burst off. So that's the entire issue there. But for what it is as a B3 Nikke, and water, you have potential. Anniversary is there, you could get a water Nikke, that is true. I don't know for sure if they would do that, and I don't know for sure if that would be the way that it goes, but anything is possible with Big Poppy shift up. That is true. Remember, Roppy was fire, she maintained fire, right? But will Anise and that be water? If it's we speculate Anise and Neon, right? If that is the case, will it be water? I don't know, right? Over here though, this is the damage that we picked up: 836, 499, 394. So that's where it's currently at for us. Okay, again, off burst. She provided 35%, right? She provided 35% to the team, so she is running partially the support kit. So you have to sort of compensate the fact that, hey, 35% is coming from who? From her. Replace her out. Who are you running in a water team right now? There's not many options. So for an option like this, I truly think that it is a viable option. So that's what I would stand at. Am I going to say it's a must pull? It's in this game, you really can't say must pulls anymore. Must pulls are Siren, must pulls are Roppy, Red Hood, characters like that. I think that if you are a solo raid player, it's still a must pull, because again, there's not much in the water category. It's a very dead category. So do what you will with this information. I'll probably wrap it up there. That's currently what it looks like for Elegg. Boom and shock. If you're asking me like, hey, do I pull because of, you know, Elegg herself? It's a must pull.